Okay, so we should be live and ready to roll. All right, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Red Path Live, no less. It is Dara here with you today, and I'm joined by my lovely co-host Jack. What's up, dude? How are you getting on?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. I'm still knackered. Puppy is a lot of work, apparently. So,
Yes, yeah. So you got a recent arrival, right?
yeah, 3 weeks ago. Last weekend was my first weekend at home alone with him, and it was uh, a lot. So, yeah, hyped for the tournament though. It was getting me through it. I'm really looking forward to a weekend away.
Yeah, I am also super stoked. So for anyone who doesn't know, we have got a big old Warhammer tournament coming up. Myself and Jack. So we're attending the what is it called? The Golden Ticket event in Warhammer World.
Like
Correct?
singles Warhammer 40k 2000 point
Yeah.
championship, something
Basically
like that.
a GT slash major. Is it a major?
I don't think so. I don't
Okay.
know. People haven't been registering on
Who
PCP.
knows? Yeah, who knows? I haven't registered. No one else has because list submission is the day before. So yeah, basically, what it is a large GT slash small super major. Hello everyone in chat as well. We are going to try and keep up with things in chat. We're going to be talking about a little bit about the event and the lists that we're bringing. So as always, the usual. We'll get to questions at the end, and super chats get priority. You know how it is. Anyway, yeah, so we're going to this event. It starts this coming Saturday, which will be the something of
12th.
August, the middle, 12th.
12th.
And yeah, so Saturday, Sunday, 3 games each day. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's going to be a good time. We're both bringing world eaters. I'm bringing more world eaters than you. And
You're bringing
it's,
actual world.
yeah, I'm bringing real world eaters. And yeah, so basically, I've got some pretty fun lists, and Jack has definitely got a list as well, which I have thoughts about. So yeah, it's going to be a pretty cool event. The layout looks pretty decent. The maps look pretty good as well, and I'm looking forward to getting down and throwing some proper dice. I played two RTTs so far in the last couple of weeks, and I just finished an informal RTT this weekend at my buddy Jay's house. And I was playing my good buddy Kean, who I can see is hanging out in chat as well, and terminated me with Eldar today. So that was pretty humbling and excellent. But it was actually a really fun game that we played. But yeah, so without further ado, Jack, what are you bringing to Warhammer World this coming weekend?
I'm bringing world eaters, Dara.
Yes, you are, of course.
So this is the majority of my list behind me. Dara wants me to turn it into a five guys list. But the only thing that really fits alongside those four big boys is a Land Raider, and I would have literally nothing else. I think I'd have 40 points, 50 points left over after Land Raider on top of those four.
Which is literally
Um,
nothing.
which is nothing in the World Eaters Codex. I don't think there's anything in Demons either, except for
No, I
like
don't believe
Nurglings,
so.
which we can't
75 is the
take. So
cheapest, yeah. So
yeah,
for anyone who can't quite see, why don't you run us through
yes,
the
yeah.
list
Sorry.
as it stands, I suppose.
So the list as it stands, although it's as it stands, Angron is my character and my warlord. Angron, sure. I've got two squads of 10 jackals, all with the trimmings. I have I then have a Lord of Skulls, just a Lord of Skulls. At the moment, I have two spawn, just one squad of two spawn because points are a thing. I then, as allied units, have a Bloodmaster, not pictured there, a Bloodthirster with a Great Axe, and a Knight Abominant because it's the only big knight I have painted, and I painted it this weekend just gone, and it looks pretty good. So I'm taking him because he looks cool.
Can the Knight Abominant
Um,
do psychic powers?
he has psychic abilities.
Right.
There is no such thing as psychic
Oh,
powers now,
of course.
Dara.
Yeah, sorry, my bad. My bad. I'm playing
Fucking
a different
idiots.
edition.
I can't remember. He's got a thing where he units within like 12 inches on a dice roll take mortal wounds in the movement at the end of
Oh
the
yeah,
movement
the
phase.
Terror
Pretty,
Shades one, right?
yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
He has something else as well that is like make someone take a battle shock test in the shooting phase.
So it's basically four big boys.
Yes,
Mm.
and then some attendant crap. So
Yeah, so two squads of jackals and a bloodmaster and two
a
spawn.
bloodmaster and two spawn. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
that
So
adds up.
okay,
That adds
right.
up to
Break it
that adds
down.
up to
Break it down
three.
for the people. Why? I like why, Jack? Why? Why do you want to suffer so
So
much?
originally the list was Angron, Lord of Skulls, and two Land Raiders and some like War Dogs. and then like 2 squads of 10 jackals and a squad of 5 berserkers. And I ran it out against Jamie on TTS for my first ever game of 10th, and it did pretty well. So uh, I was like, cool, this list clearly works, and decided that the Land Raiders were shit, and so dropped it in favor of other big stuff.
Yeah, Land Raiders
And
are so bad.
they are.
Yeah, they're really,
like,
really rough.
They're hilariously, well, relatively hard to kill, or seem to be against Jamie's list, which is very funny. He charged one of mine with 6 blood crushers, and the guy, the character, and did loads of mortal wounds on the charge, and then was in combat with it for 3 more turns. And the Land Raider ran over 2 of them.
Yeah, so, surprisingly good in combat these days.
That was quite funny. But yeah, I just like, in my head as well, I'm kind of like, I've played 2 games of 10th so far, and they're both been really good, and both are very different lists. But I wanted to, for my first tournament of 10th, take something that doesn't require that much thought. Like, there's not that many models, there's not that many rules to remember, so I can focus on learning the core rules of 10th. It will be fun. We're at Warhammer World. You're going to be there. Like, it'll be a good time. And I thought I would, and also, I thought I'd embrace that. But I've also had some stuff like bound up in doing well at tournaments before. So I thought I would just, one of the most fun tournaments I had most of the way through was when I just was like, fuck it, let's mean the shit out of this tournament. And that was the Lord of Skulls double Land Raider with Abaddon and a Disco Lord.
Yeah, iconic.
and it went really fucking well. Like, I finished 4th.
Yeah.
But that was really fun. So like I'm gonna, like, I want to take pressure off myself, basically.
Yeah, and I think, like, basically for context here as well, everyone, obviously in the last couple of months since 10th jumped out, myself and Jack have kind of been humming and hawing. We actually bought tickets for this tournament when just coming off the back of
straight off Fest,
Warhammer Fest, yeah. So we basically were very much like, oh cool, living on the hype train, blah blah blah, and that was all going great. And then kind of 10th came out, and I think it's fair to say we were a little bit shaky about it when it started. And I was actually considering like refunding my ticket and everything for this event. And then we kind of settled on the idea of, if we just play pretty casual, kind of come at it with an attitude of let's just have as much fun as we possibly can. And I definitely think that you're approaching this in the right way, for sure, that you have the big boy list. It's really cool. Let me pick your brain on it for a minute, though. Obviously, you know, you've played 2 games, which isn't a crazy amount of games, but are you going to plan on playing around fixed secondaries? Are you going to take tactical, or how are you going to kind of...
I'm taking tacticals.
Jesus Christ.
They're way more fun. Like, I'm not going to do very well, but it's going to be so much more fun.
Okay.
Like,
okay.
So for context, I played tactical in both of the games I played. So I played tactical with the list that was double Land Raider, and the Lord of Skulls and Angron, and scored 80 odd points with it. So like, it doesn't, I mean, maybe there's stuff about like lucky card draws and shit like that, but like, it didn't go that badly. And then I played a not fluffy, but definitely not cutting edge Eldari list in my second game, and played tactical with that, with like 30 berserkers, a couple of characters, like a proper World Eats list. Like, it was 2 squads of 10.
Yeah, it was kind of standard.
2 squads of 5,
stuff, yeah.
Khorne, a couple of Masters of Executions, Angron, and some Jackals, I think, and maybe a Rhino, and that was about it.
Yeah, pretty standard.
And
stuff.
that scored about the same. So like, I think I part of it is like, I'll probably enjoy the challenge of playing tactical with like fucking basically 6 models and then 20
like,
Jackals.
You know, the way that you have like the Bloodmaster and the double spawn and stuff, might it be an idea to take fixed and go like behind enemy lines and deploy teleport homers or something? You know, because it's like pretty consistent.
That one turn, though, aren't they?
Sorry?
And they're only going to do that one turn, then they're just going to.
But like, I suppose in the sense that like you're putting so much in front of your opponent with the 4 big boys that like anything that they have to dedicate towards like getting rid of these guys. And are they World Eaters spawn?
Yeah.
So you can pop them up to a 4-up, feel no pain. I don't know, man. I actually think I would go with fixed and just go like behind enemy lines, and maybe I think it's deploy teleport homers. It might be investigate signals. Not sure exactly. But
I don't even know which ones the fixed ones are anymore.
Like, it's all of them. I think it's most of the main ones in tactical anyway. You could always take, like, you know, if someone rocks up with a load of characters, like if we pair, you could take assassinate and just, you know, pick off tons of my boys. So like, I don't know. I kind of I guess you can play it game by game, but I personally, if I was you, I would probably go with fixed secondaries. I think because tactical is going to be tough.
That's because we're fun though.
It's fun until it isn't.
I'll see.
It's
I
fun
mean, I've got
until you
6
have to
games.
forgo one of your Lord of Skulls shooting so that you can do an action in the middle of the board or something.
Fucking score it then. I'll just kill stuff. Don't need points if they're dead, do you?
Uh, I mean, I've been table and still won games in 10th edition, so I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm as I say, I'm not going in with much of a plan for this weekend. I'm going there for a good time, I think.
Yeah.
And I think I want to, like, as I say, I think not having that many models, not having that many rules to remember, will mean that I can focus on like learning 10th, like the bones of 10th, which are very close to the bones of 9th, to be honest. Like, there's the line of sight stuff's a bit fucky, and the fly stuff fucking sucks. And yeah, that's like it's quite close. It's remembering stuff like battle shock, remembering to do tacticals and that kind of thing are the main things I'm hoping to do this weekend, I think. And then like,
and you pick it up pretty fast too, I found.
Yeah. It's I mean, as I say, I played 2 games and like most of it is fine. It's just the stuff like remembering to do battle shocks.
Yeah.
Pretty much the only thing. Is the only thing that I think I've messed up on. Fly fucking sucks.
Fly is so rough now. It's just like, it's why does this keyword exist? It doesn't really do anything anymore, but yeah, and it's, I mean, played on the GW layouts now a good few times, and it can actually be a little bit difficult to move around the big fly models. I don't think it's too bad, really, because there's a lot of them. A lot of the runes are actually supposed to be only about like 2 to 4 inches.
Yeah.
So it's not too bad for getting over them, but for anything that's like obviously 4+, you're losing a lot of movement that way.
Yeah. I mean, also, so before we'll go on to it, I guess, but like the train layout that we're playing on Saturday is the train layout I played Jamie on, and I found it quite hard to move unpack my army out of the deployment zone.
I can see why you would have that problem specifically. Yeah, I mean, like the Lord of Skulls. Well, I mean, like everything really has to move kind of in order of each other because they can't move through each other as well because they're all monsters and vehicles. So, yeah, I can see.
Fly, it's fine.
Sure. Yeah, I can see how that would be a little bit of a traffic jam, though.
What about Duster? I'm going to roll in bone saves one at a time all weekend.
I mean, really, you probably just deep strike him in and rapid ingress him in most of the time, right?
Probably.
Yeah, because can he advance and charge, or that's a demon strat, right?
I think that's demon strat, which I don't have access to. So
yeah, it's an interesting one. I wouldn't bring it, but
as I'm not going there with the intention of doing good.
Yeah. I think you could, like, with the right matchups, you can 3 and 2 that pretty fine.
I mean, it would be 3 and 3 or 4 and 2 because it's 6 games, right?
I just love the idea of you matching into Imperial Knights and just going like, oh, well,
going second and just losing,
or just going first and destroying them. Yeah, it would be good.
Like if as you say, like certain matchups, I will dominate the fuck out of because people.
You'll probably have a great time if you pair me. Or Custodes, potentially.
How much anti-tank do you have?
Not much.
Not enough.
No, definitely not enough. Like, Custodes probably have a pretty rough time into you as well, because you can kind of match them unit for unit, but they don't really have good answers into you unless they have a lot of Caladius, and even then they're pretty swingy.
I mean, a lot of stuff is swingy. I quite like the I actually quite like the gun, the weapon profiles for the Abominant.
Talk to me about those, because I'm really unfamiliar with the Abominant.
So I don't want to get it wrong, so I'm just going to find it. But the Volkite weapon is like strength 10, damage 3, and devastating wounds. Yeah, with 9 shots.
Does it have like sustained or anything on it?
No, but like 9 shots.
yeah, you probably get like maybe 1 mortal wound too, or 1 dev wound even.
3 damage.
Yeah.
What else?
It's okay.
The Scourge is pretty good as well, actually. Oh my god! Of course, it's the last one. So the Volkite Combustor, 30-inch range, devastating wounds, 9 attacks, 3 up, strength 12. So
strength 12 is quite good, actually.
Anti-tank, yeah. No AP though, and flat damage 3. Melee, he has Electro Scourge, sustained hits, 9 attacks, 3 up, strength 10. That's what the strength 10 is. Strength 10, -2, flat 3 again.
And sustained.
Yeah.
Flat 3. Ooh. Nice. Yeah, geez, that's a great combat profile. Wow.
And then he's got Bale Mace, so his tail thing, which is extra attacks, 3 attacks, 3 up, strength 8, AP 1, damage 2.
Solid.
Just like fine.
Yeah.
Nice to
and
have
a cheeky little tank shock in there as well when you go running in. Job done.
It's only strength 10, so it's not like It's not amazing, but it's. I'm
Yeah, I
not
mean,
even
you're not
sure
going to
it's
tank
worth
shock
it.
other vehicles, but running tank shock into like heavy elite infantry, you might as well do
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
You know, yeah.
And then his rules I did get them right. Is start of my shooting phase, select one enemy unit with 12 inches. They have to take a battle shock test. End of my movement phase, roll 1d6 for each enemy unit within 9 inches of the model. On a 3+, it suffers D3 mortal wounds.
That's pretty
Basically, I'm just
good.
going to run him into the middle of the board and say, "Come at me." And,
Yeah, he's good for like things like area denial and stuff like that. Yeah, I can see
yeah.
that. Can see that working.
And then he's toughness 12, 10-inch move, 22 wounds, 3 up, 5 up against shooting.
Yeah.
Standard.
He doesn't
like
have an involvement in
Questoris.
combat, right?
No. Standard Questoris Knight profile though, or Chaos Knight.
He's not bad. Yeah, he's not bad. I'm not sure though.
I mean, it's the only one I painted.
And you can't use stratagems on them, so you can't do the one where you Kool-Aid through the wall, which is a bit of a shame.
No, that is a shame.
I love that stratagem.
I don't have 2,000 points of Chaos Knights painted.
I mean, look, we can't all be perfect, I guess. Yeah, so I don't know. Like, do you have a hope? Do you have an expectation for your result, or are you just going in being like, "I have a good time, see what happens, have some beers"?
It'd be nice to get a win.
Oh, I think you'll definitely get a win.
A win.
You'll definitely get a win. Yeah.
At a certain point, I will match into a list that like can't deal with it, right?
Yeah, like as I say, myself, Black Templars, Custodes, I think will actually really, really struggle into this, which would be quite funny. Potentially even a Chaos Knight build, I think, because the thing is, if you come into another big boy list or another like custodian low model count list, in this case, Angron is like such a massive asset because he's just a free trader. You know, you send him into something, he kills it, then he dies. You're like, all right, whatever, he'll be back.
I hopefully, have a good track record of bringing him back.
Yeah, actually, you're a lot less likely to bring him back than myself, but you know, you put him in nice and early, he trades out with something semi-valuable, especially if it's like you're playing into knights, even if he nabbed like a big knight, an armiger, something like that.
Yeah.
It's a free trade, and then they're down a piece, you're probably getting a piece back. He'll soak up so much firepower as well that you can have the other big boys position. They're going to get hit by a bloodthirster in the next turn. Probably Lord of Skulls after. I'm guessing that probably the Abominant is the only one that's not really angling for combat, I'm guessing.
I mean, you heard his melee profile's not bad.
Yeah, but he's definitely like the worst of the four of them, though.
Yeah, probably. Lord of Skulls, I don't think my Lord of Skulls actually made combat yet.
He's flat damage 8. He will pick up.
Okay.
Yeah, he's really, really good. Yeah.
Cool.
Mark in chat says, lose the first game and you'll have a better chance of not running into those trouble lists.
Yes. So
yeah, true. True.
Me and Dara need to put different club names so that we can match in the first round, and then I mean, Dara.
I still think I would kick the shit out of your list, but
probably would. Yeah, that's what I mean. I want to lose. I'm taking Mark's advice. I lose first game. TV.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Boost me up at the same time as well. Yeah. Is this the reverse of submarining? Is this what we call springboarding? It's cool though. I mean, like I say, I do think that like in those specific matchups you could have a really good time, and it really just depends on the flavor of what you run into. Something like GSC I think would be so funny. I would love to just like toss my game early to watch you play GSC, and like I just have no idea what would happen. It would be awful though.
Go on the clock straight away.
Yeah, clock 100%. Like 100%. That would be a funny one. I mean, even Eldar, I'm kind of like they can't like kill them all, you know. That's the thing about your list. It's like you put it down, you're like you can't get them all realistically, you know.
I want a deployment that I can just like frontline all four of them and just off you go.
Mark wants to know, when was the last time I lost a competitive game? I lost a competitive game today. I was playing against my buddy Kian, and he brought Craft World Eldar so that I could experience them, and it was actually a phenomenally fun game. But we'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, so no real kind of like win-loss goal other than win one game maybe. And
I think maybe a win, and then we'll see what happens. And yeah, have some cool moments, I guess.
So
then like enjoy our narrative game on Friday.
Yeah, so actually that's another thing. We're playing a narrative game to accelerate the lore of the Cinder Host and the what's your guys called again?
What is my name?
Ashen Scourge, is it?
Ashen Scourge.
Yes,
there you go.
that was it. Yeah. So we're accelerating some lore there. Yeah. Green Blood Crusade said, really wish they'd balance the army out more. My Black Templar is about 150% better than the Bloody Boys. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. I kicked the crap out of some Black Templars the other week, so I think it's fine. I think it's fine. But yeah, no, they are vastly different. They are vastly, vastly different. Black Templars are very, very good. But yeah, it'll be a good weekend, and I personally would not be shocked if you won 2 games, and with the right matchups could squeeze a third. But I think a 3-2 would be super, super good for that list, in my opinion.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, 3-2 would be nuts.
Wild, I think. Yeah, for sure, for sure. I'm looking forward to seeing it though. I can't wait to for you to get your first matchup on BCP and just be like, what I've done is a huge mistake.
It's just going to be like, to be honest, I think the weekend is going to revolve around me enjoying that moment when I rock up to the table, and my opponent's like, "What the fuck is this?" I
mean, look, it worked for you before, man. It worked before.
2 minutes. It didn't work. I went 2 and 3 with the last big boiler that I ran. Oh yeah, no,
the time that you finished 4th, yeah.
The Lord of Skulls double land raid, yeah, but that was different. That was gimmicky as shit, and there was no terrains.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it's a fun one. I like it. I like it. Yeah. So I guess onto mine.
What about your list?
So I'm trying hard.
Fucking try hard.
Yeah. So
dirty whack player.
For anyone who I suppose hasn't kind of kept up to date in the Discord, which if you're not in the Discord, you should totally join us. Loads of good stuff going on there. But so I've played an awful lot of 10th edition recently, especially in the last 3 to 4 weeks. So I've been to 2 RTTs, went 3-0 at one, went 2-1 at another one. This past weekend, I've played 3 more games of 40k 10th edition and played as well. So I think I'm on around 12 or 13 games in total now, maybe more. I'm not sure exactly. Doing pretty well. I think I'm sitting at a 60-something% win rate on my tabletop battles, which is fine. And recently, I kind of obviously having a pretty rough time of 10th to start with. Really wasn't enjoying it, but kind of a couple of things clicked in terms of list building for me, and I put together a list that I ran at the 2 RTTs that was really, really fun. So one of them was a 1,500 point list, so it was kind of like the theory of like bringing Angron and some Moes and stuff like that. And then more recently it was so I had like Angron, I had a Mauler Fiend, had 6 Exalted 8-bound, lots of small Berserker squads, and a big Berserker squad with Khorne, which was the money. I'm like so in love with that unit now, it's wildly good. But yeah, so I was playing around with that. The Mauler Fiend was sort of disappointing to me, so I kind of dropped that after a while. So this past weekend what I was running was Angron, 3 Masters of Executions, 1 with Glaive, 1 with Favor of Khorne, and 1 with the Free Heroic strat. Each of them had a 5-man Berserker squad. Then there was Khorne with a 10-man Berserker squad. There was 6 Exalted 8-bound and a singular Rhino. And generally what was happening was the Exalted 8-bound were starting in Deep Strike, the Khorne and the boys were starting in Strat Reserve. Normally I'm ingressing both of those. And then there's just Moles running around for days. So generally it's like you kind of push the Glaive guy out first as an early trade piece. And then you've got the Free Heroic Intervention guy kind of hanging out behind him. So when you can, you're jumping into there as well. Now I didn't actually find the Heroic Intervention strat useful at all. So he got axed, but we'll get to that. And yeah, so I was playing Dark Eldar, Custodes, and Craft World this past weekend. So was like 72-76 to the Dark Eldar, which was a very, very close game. It was 86-82 win in the Custodes game to me. And then it was a 62-85 win for the Craft World today. So again, really close games. I'm quite happy that my losses have now gone from like washout losses where I was getting very few points to actually keeping it within that 20-point margin, which good. Is all thanks to tactical, really. My list plays tactical exceptionally well because there's 2 Jackal squads as well, just doing random shit in the background. And then the 5-man Berserker squads are really good for just like, hey, we need to go here, we need to go there, blah, blah, blah. Jumping out of Rhinos as well. Really, really nice. And Angron, obviously, with a built-in favourite of Khorne and many banner rerolls, he's coming back at least once every game, pretty much. So that was really good. So yeah, reflecting on that today, and this is a silly angle to rebuild the list, but obviously I'm a little bit more into the painting than the gaming side of things, and I like to kind of go to the tournaments to try and win the painting events, and I really want to try and do that for this one. Especially getting silver at Warhammer Fest, so want to try and push for gold at this. So the boys today were basically like, you need to bring the Firekeeper, my Juggerlord with the banner, because he looks pretty good. So I'll have Angron, and basically I changed the list around, so it's Angron, Khorne, Lord Invocatus, 2 Masters of Executions, 1 with Favored and 1 with Glaive. Then there's 3 5-man Zerks, 1 10-man Zerk, where Khorne kind of slots into again. We have 6 regular 8-bound this time, the 2 Jackal squad still, and the 1 Rhino. And really the question that I'm at now is kind of moving around my characters that are attached to units, because I'm not sure, do I want Invocatus with 8-bound? Do I want him with 5 Berserkers? Do I want to combine 2 of the 5s into a 10 and put the Glaive Mo in there? There's lots of really weird, small, minute changes that can actually have quite a big impact now. And it's really just about kind of putting those last couple of pieces of the puzzle together. But this way I can bring my nice banner guy, which is cool, but also Invocatus is very good. So potentially this list, swapping the Exalted down to regular 8-bound, because I didn't really find the Exalted were amazing. Now they'll have Scout. Invocatus can give out 2 other Scouts. We have Angron. So potential first turn pressure is actually very, very high, I would say. Yeah. So I don't know. I think it'll play tactical really well.
Yeah, I think Invocatus probably makes sense in the 8-bound, because then you don't lose so much of his movement with him.
Yeah.
And if he's pushing forwards already with, like, he wants to be pushing forwards with the squad, right? That he's pushing up as well, so he moves up with them. Cool. As you say, like your first turn pressure can be really strong, and he's no slouch in combat anymore as well, is he?
No, because he's got the dev wounds. Yeah. So he can really pop off. And like in my mind, if you've got the 8-bound running up as well, they've got the reroll wounds bubble coming off. So
and you can do like daisy chaining with the 10-mans if you do go for 2 10-mans. Everyone can get reroll wounds.
Pretty much. Realistically, Khorne is probably still coming out of reserve with the 10-man.
Oh, with one, yeah.
That just has been a consistently very strong move. Put them in reserve, ingress them in. It's just like they're kind of in a really good position, and then have a turn of movement. Now today I was very, very greedy, and I ingressed them in onto an objective basically. Basically flipping off a Wraith Knight who proceeded to then shoot the shit out of them and kill all the Berserkers except for Khorne, which was was entirely on me, because I could have ingressed them in behind I could have ingressed them behind Obscuring, which wouldn't have mattered because it's a Wraith Knight, but then the Wraith Guard who also shot them wouldn't have been able to do it. So that one was on me. Lethal / sustained Jackals with full rerolls is my dream. I don't actually think so. I've kind of gone off Jackals in terms of combat, because they don't do anything anymore.
I had 10 Jackals kill 4 Blood Crushers in melee the other day.
I mean, that seems incorrect. That seems pretty good.
+1 to wound, lethal hits. Easy claps.
Yeah. Oh, because +1 to wound because they had Skullmaster in it or whatever? Yeah. That's pretty funny. That is actually quite good. What toughness is a Blood Crusher?
7.
Jesus Christ, I can't believe they did. Okay, wild.
Lethal hits, mate.
Yeah, lethal is good on Jackals.
I think I had lethal and sustained on. So
well, they have sustained baked in, don't they?
Yeah.
It's an interesting one. I found sustained on the 10-man brick with Khorne is just wild. Khorne himself is so good. So good.
Because I tried the 10-man brick in my old Ari game. I tried that 10-man brick with Khorne and had them coming out for Rhino. And they didn't really do much, but that was
really
probably my fault. Like I like the fucking Eldar bullshit. Like the redeploy. He just fucked off the Wraith Guard that I was going to charge. Not Wraith Guard, Wraith Blades that I was going to charge with the brick, and it meant that they only got into a Farseer and some Dire Avengers and butchered both very easily.
Yes,
but like you would expect that to happen regardless.
Yeah. Khorne really likes going into Wraith Guard as well because they're only 3 wounds, so he's pretty good at picking them up.
Would have been nice.
would have been good.
That was the plan, funnily enough.
I can see how that would have been the plan.
Forgot about Phantasm. So
So that's kind of it. It's a fairly, I don't know, is it really straightforward? It definitely plays the game that I like to play, which is lots of boogie in the middle of the board.
I think it suits tactical really well as well. Like
it really does.
That like can go, as you say, go off and do shit.
Yeah, by and large, when I've been playing tactical, it's like pulling out cards, just like cool, that suits me, that's great, no problem.
And the Rhinos provide extra movement and stuff for it as well. So
and are really good for doing simple things like cleanse or area denial or
signals. The Khorne's one,
and even just doing my now signature Rhino Drift, where I absorb a bunch of fight first units with the Rhino sliding in. It's just been phenomenally good. Thank you, Rhinos. But yeah, so it's a fairly simple list. Again, like many of the lists that I run, Ronseal list, it does pretty much exactly what you think it does, but has the capacity to really turn on the pressure. If I'm going into an army where I'm like, cool, I can benefit a lot from hitting this guy pretty fast. Like you've got 8 bound who can be across the board in one turn, Angron who can be there as well. Potentially Invocatus and the guys have a shot at it too, or you can just even use them. He's so good for like, tactical flexibility as well. I know you'd have to do the scout before you draw your cards and stuff, but even the positioning, you pull some nice cards like Cleanse in turn 1, you can easily pop off 2 cleanses, no problem, or secure no man's land, anything like that. It's just really, really powerful and gives you a lot of my favorite thing is that I can like frontline so much stuff and then basically use the scout as a redeploy to just move into terrain and be like, all right, see you, bye bye, no problem.
That was what I mean. That's how we were using pregame. Was like even back in ninth, right?
Of course, yeah. I mean, I wasn't really on that train, but now I'm experiencing it out of necessity in my try hard nature. But yeah, I think it's
turntables.
Yeah, exactly right. You're the one bringing the fun list now. But like to me, it plays the way that I like to play World Leaders, which is lots of trade pieces. Even though it doesn't really feel like a lot of trade pieces, it's still weirdly a lot, and like
it's a lot for a World Eaters list nowadays.
It is, and I've prescribed to Jamie's sort of mentality of send Angron in turn 1, just fully sent him. Today I sent him into 10 Guardians. He didn't actually kill them all, but
fucking hell.
I know, yeah, one lived, and ended up doing like deploy teleport homers and holding the last objective.
That's
loads of other stuff. It was funny. It was really good. I liked it. But like, you just send him forwards and get him killed as fast as you possibly can, and then with favorite of Khorne,
you have 4 chances to read
multiple banners. You're killing guys in combat. You're paying that CP to reroll everything.
Yep.
I do think that the sleeper though is people are not using the +1 to wound stratagem like anywhere close to enough. They're like, oh, we don't have anti-vehicle, we don't have anti-monster, blah blah blah. I'm like, you drop Khorne into like a tank with the boys and the pop the +1 to wound, they're going through the tank. Like they just are, and I think really people are sleeping on that. It's 1 CP. It's phenomenally good.
Yeah, for sure. I as I say, I used it a couple of times and it's that and the auto advance 6 one are the ones that I've used most so far, I think.
I think the -1 damage for me, just because I tend to play into a lot of combat armies, but it can be really, really good. Really good, especially for Custodes.
I can see that. It's just really expensive. 2 CP feels really expensive.
Yeah, it is. However, if you play tactical, you can discard a card every turn and get CP, which is usually, well, okay, not every turn, but I would say like 2 or 3 turns of the game. Yeah. I'll discard one.
Yeah, it does help.
I actually really like that aspect of tactical. It's a good way of having that in there.
I fucking love tactical. As someone who has not played like Maelstrom or Tempest like competitively, I've played 2 games of 10th, and that is like the standout best change is like socializing that as a competitive choice.
I think so, yeah.
For me, it is like by far the best change they made in 10th.
I think it's like
I have some gripes, but like
it's a good refinement of what was there before. Having played Maelstrom at an actual competitive level because of playing in Europe, it's much better than what it was, because it was really bad when it was Maelstrom. It was really, really bad. And like, outside of things like there's maybe 1 or 2 cards in the deck at the minute that I would say are quite bad when they come up, but nothing is really unachievable unless it's unachievable because you're already being bodied. You have a different problem. That is a choice. That is a choice. That is not a flaw in the mission. That is a flaw in your brain. But
yeah,
I don't know. I'm kind of like, I'm here for it because definitely the way that my list is sort of built, there's very, very often I just draw cards and I'm like, cool, it works. It just works. It's amazing.
I did really enjoy that with the Berserker list that I ran against the Ardari.
Yeah.
But like even doing it with like more limited resources is kind of fun as well, because it's like seeing how far you can stretch stuff, and like it feels like more of a chess game almost, because you've got a finite number of resources, and it's like, well, if I go like the fucking crazy guy doing the maps on the walls, right, with all the red strings, like if he goes over there and he does that, then he goes over there, then I'll get 15 points. And like it is fun doing stuff like that.
I do think it kind of like makes you really think about your order of operations during a turn, which is pretty cool
Yeah,
too. And like has to
100%.
make you. I have had to make the interesting choices of like, oh, could do this, and then this guy's not going to be able to do the thing that I want him to do or whatever. And then obviously some armies are really good at doing like loads of stuff all at once. I would say that we are pretty up there as like a
Mm.
decent tactical army and stuff. But
We
then
don't have any shooting anyway, so the action stuff.
exactly, yeah. So it's just like, oh, okay, cool, that's no problem. Like my
I'll
Rhino will be
sacrifice
doing
my ball
cleanse like
pistols. Yeah.
every turn or
Like,
berserkers or whatever. Yeah, it's pretty good. I don't
I
know.
think
It's an interesting one.
my my only real gripe with tactical is the specific interaction with World Eaters, where you pick your blessings at the start of the battle round, but you draw your cards in your command phase.
Yes.
Because like your blessings are like a toolkit piece where you're like, cool, I can be really adaptable depending on what I need to do this turn, but you don't know what you need to do this turn because you haven't drawn your cards yet.
Yeah.
So
No,
unless you've held
it
on
can
to
be a little
cards,
bit
which is not really a good choice generally,
yeah.
it's it just that was the bit that was most jarring. Has been most jarring for me both games.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, this is blessings is really cool. Like the decision in your command at the start of the battle round is really fun. Like trying to work out what's going to happen that turn or that battle round, and then it's like, oh, but I have to do it with like half the information.
Yeah.
Which,
No, it can be. It's a bit of a weird one. It's kind of like you have to do a bit of anticipation game, and it's
yeah,
really about whether or not you're turning on the advance and charge or the +2 move. Really, like when you think about
yeah.
it.
Mm.
Yeah, but it's a strange one. Yeah. So I don't know. What do you think? What do you think about my list? I got to plug in my laptop, so I'm still listening, but I'm going to disappear under the table for a moment. But tell me what you think. Yeah, how's it going to do?
I think it's really good. Like it's I that was quite funny. I really like it. I think it's it obviously, as you said, has loads of trade pieces, plays tacticals really well.
Yeah.
I think it really suits you. I mean, it's a very similar list to what you're running at the end of ninth, pretty much, right? So the only change being
not really. I would say not to Fest, but when I was running Angron,
Well,
it's quite similar to when I was running
yeah.
Ronalds. Yeah. I would say
But
that.
like the core of the list is a shit ton of berserkers and some rhinos.
And look,
Like
the sum has gone down to one rhino, but the shit ton of berserkers has remained.
yeah. So like
Yeah.
right.
Like people are like shit talking on my boys, the berserkers. They're so bad now. I'm like, no, fuck that. They're really good still. And they're not. They're definitely quite poor, but I am going to push them as hard as I can.
Good ablative wounds.
I'll make it work. I'll make it work. Hey, look, Red Powell went to Balone Star or Palm Springs with tons of
like
berserkers and went
right?
4-1, 5-1. He can do it.
5-1.
He can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a fun one. It's a fun one.
No, I think you do quite well. Are you going with a particular goal in mind?
No. I'm going for a good time, not a long time. I definitely want to like coast in the mid tables and not have to run into too much
Eldar.
Too much Eldar, yeah, too much. So this is the thing as well, for anyone who doesn't know, this tournament is on the same weekend as the WTC, which means all the really, really good players, really try-hard players, are going to be in Belgium. So we'll be fine, right? We'll be fine. We're hanging out with the people, basically.
There's someone from my club going. I didn't notice until
I'm going to kill them.
He's one of the people who registered, actually. So
well, there you go. And I suppose, look, if anyone happens to be in the area, if anyone happens to be visiting Warhammer World, call in over the weekend. We'll be around, and if you want to say hello, you can say hello. You can grab a pint with us or whatever, because I think it's fair to say many pints are going to be consumed this weekend, right? Bogman's Bar right next to us is going to be violent.
Fucking hell.
I'm coming in with an attitude for this one.
Centre of Nottingham, within walking distance of tram stop, which
oh my God.
goes to within walking distance of Warhammer World, so I don't have to drive.
What more could you want?
Yeah.
What about the missions? What are we looking at? We got anything spicy in there? I think we got a couple of spicy ones in there.
I have got them. So we've got mission selection M, which is Purge the Foe, Chilling Rain, Crucible of Battle.
I did that one today. That's nothing interesting.
Purge the Foes, hold one, hold more, kill one, kill more. Right?
Yeah, it's old ITC. Yeah.
And then you've got Crucible of Battle is the priority targets.
This
kind of
one. Yeah, it's like hammer and anvil, but a little bit
halfway along the long edge to the corner of the short edge. So there's that one is mission 1 on Saturday, and that's with terrain layout 3. I'm not going to describe that because I won't be able
Yeah,
to.
we're
Train
using
layout
2 of the
3,
train layouts.
GW, yeah. And then round 2 is mission E, which is take and hold, which is just 1, 2 more, or 1, 2, 3. You've got chosen battlefield, which is player placed
I hate
right?
that one. I hate it so much.
Player placed objectives.
Yeah, it's just not.
Then,
it's just not good. It's not a balanced sort of mechanic.
Yeah, I guess because whoever goes first just drops right in the middle.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like player placed terrain, but with objectives. Yeah.
Which is arguably almost worse than player placed terrain, if such a thing could exist.
And then the last one is sweeping engagement, which is objective cleared or whatever. So basically, just invalidates the jackals rule, which is fucking great.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really care about that really too much.
I have 20 jackals that are my only objective.
Once again, this is a you problem. This was a design choice, so that's on you.
Game 3 on Saturday is Mission O, which is Vital Ground, which is you get different victory points per objective depending on where you hold them.
Yes,
so I think you get 2 for your own, 5 for No Man's Land, and 6 for your opponents.
Something like that, yeah.
And then we've got Chilling Rain, which is nothing, and we've got Crucible Battle, which is the same as the first one.
Oh, really? They're repeating deployments? Okay. Have we had any quarters?
Because they have to for the layout. Yeah, we get quarters on Sunday because they changed the terrain layout.
Just one quarters?
2, I think. So
are we back to back quarters?
I think we've got 4 and 6 off the top of my head, but we're getting there, Dara.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Calm down.
If I'm flying to the sun and the last 2 deployment zones are table quarters, I'm going to body slam my opponent with turn 1 toxicity. 100%.
Oh my god! It is actually back to back.
Is it actually? Jesus, that's wild.
Round 4, first game on Sunday is Scorched Earth, which is you can burn objectives.
You can get rid of objectives, right? Yeah. That you know what now? You drop your Bloodmaster in behind, and he runs up. He takes a fat nasty on the objective and just picks it up. Goodbye.
I think it's like 10 points for the one in your opponent's deployment zone, so it's pretty good.
Oh, can you imagine if they like move away from it or something, or just like not leave enough guys there, and you just drop the Bloodmaster and scoop it? Can you imagine how salty they would be?
I think he might have to survive until my next command phase, but I'm not sure. And Bloodmaster's squishy as fuck.
Yeah, he's not very survivable.
4 wounds, 4 upset, 4 invuln, and that's it.
Yeah, that could be quite a funny one though. Or if you have the like 2 spawn, just walk in being like, ooh.
Because spawn can do actions now. Fuck you, though.
Wild, and also not.
I was ahead of my time.
Yeah, I know. You were just pre-testing like the 10th edition rules.
I don't know if I told you, but I was actually a playtester for 10th.
Oh yeah. So that's why it's so bad.
Anyway, the deployment. Fuck off. Anyway, the deployment on Mission L is Dawn of War, so short edge.
This is round 4, right?
This is round 4 still.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Round 5, mission selection B. We're on priority targets, which doesn't look that different to like take and hold.
So no, it's pretty much exactly the same.
Else, right? Yeah. Hidden supplies, which is add another objective.
Is hidden supplies not the CP one where it's like you gain an extra CP on a 4+ if you're holding your own?
1 second.
I think it is that. Or it's one of the supplies anyway. Might be supply drop or something.
Set one additional objective marker in No Man's Land. That's before is also going to put before setting up this objective players. So it's you set up an objective and move them like diagonally towards the borders. Yeah,
that one is so strange. So strange.
And then while I'm here, I'll just check priority targets as well. So fine. It's hold 1, hold 2 for the normal round, right? And then at the end of the battle, you get 5 points for objectives you're on.
Yeah, it's loads of points.
Up to 15. Up to 15. So you
I'd like to play you in that one.
Yeah.
Look, as you said, they can't get points if they're dead. So
priority targets, hidden supplies, and then search and destroy, which is corners with cutouts.
Yep.
That's mission 5.
That's the dream.
And then mission 6, mission selection A, take and hold.
Cool.
Take and hold.
Yeah.
Chilling Rain.
Cool.
Chilling Rain. Search and destroy again.
Oh my god, that last mission.
5 and 6.
That's the money.
Both corners with cutouts. So you need to go.
I'm pretty sure I could like charge almost my entire army in turn 1. Yeah.
So you go 4-0, play a filthy Eldar list,
and go first and demolish them. Yeah.
Yes.
I think I would probably literally deploy my entire army around that little
Front
circle
line.
in the middle. There's just one model from each unit is like towing the
Yeah,
9-inch circle,
yeah, they'll just
and
come
everyone
flying
else
back.
is just like, right, send it.
Let's fucking
Yeah,
go.
I reckon I could probably, like, realistically, you pop off +2 move and advance and charge. Well, it's 9 across the circle, isn't it? No, sorry, it's 9 from the center.
It's 9 from the center, so it's at the shortest points on the corners. It's someone did the maths. It's like 11 or 12, I think.
Yeah, so I'd probably have. Yeah, I could get like most of my army there with scout
Pre-game
moves, with
move
advances
6.
and charges.
You can move another 8, and then possibly advance and charge.
I'm feeling extremely confident. Extremely
So
confident.
you could go like 14 with berserkers without an advance and without the charge. So
Well, I've got guys jumping out of rhinos as well, so it's even more.
I mean, if that Eldar player who is also 4-0 doesn't just backline his entire fucking army, then he's an idiot. So
I will score so much in tactical if that's the case for one turn.
they're so fast that like they're just gonna they'll come out and kill you.
Yes,
like,
they will. But I'll have done something very cool, so it's fine. It's wild though that the last 2 missions are table quarters.
Yeah.
That's so strange. So
I
strange.
like those.
God, you're going to be on like table whatever the bottom table is, and some poor fucker is going to come up against you, and you're just going to laugh. Oh dear.
Why do you think I'm going to be on the bottom table for the last
Because you're
game?
bad and the list is bad.
I mean, you're not wrong. But
No,
like...
you'll be fine. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. I'm confident in your ability to win.
Maybe that's my
game.
goal. Maybe that's my goal. I don't want to end up on the bottom table at any point.
Watch it be now that like you just do better than me, as well. You know.
Oh, this is like I just need to go into tournaments like this because I'm. Chill,
I think you do. I've enjoyed your mentality so much more. Being like, I'm just going into this with zero fucks given, big boy time. Let's go.
Watch
the
until
energy
that's going to last until I win one game.
Oh, it will. No.
If I win my first game,
it won't.
If I win
It'll
my
be
first
you'll
game.
win like 2, right? What's gonna happen is you'll win 1, and you'll be like, oh, okay, I probably got quite lucky, the way that you normally do, where you will not attribute anything down to player decisions. And then you'll win a second game, and you'll get the thirst. You'll be like, Jesus, I could win this entire event. And then you'll lose the third game and drop from the event.
I dropped from a couple of events recently, but none of that was because I lost.
Yeah, fair.
The
But I will tell you to
I've
drop.
from
I'll be like,
recently,
you
then-
should drop now, and you will.
And I'll just be your
My chauffeur bringing me
your,
beer.
your waiter
Yes, excellent.
the rest of the weekend.
Excellent. I think it'll be cool though. I'm down with the missions. I think they look pretty decent. I would say the one I think it was round 4 is not amazing, or maybe it was round 3.
Round 3. Wait, round 4.
Round 3 was Scorched Earth, wasn't it? That'll be fun.
Round 4 was Scorched Earth.
Okay.
Round 3 was Vital Ground, Chilling Reign, Crucible.
Yeah, Vital Ground can be pretty rough because I'm generally not on the board at the end of the game, so someone can really capitalize on scoring there.
That's priority targets. That's 5.
Oh,
It's
sorry,
the one
that's the
where you
one
score
that I'm
big
thinking
points
of.
at the
Yeah.
Vital Ground
that
is
could be rough.
Vital Ground is you want to hold your opponent or no man's land for points during the game.
Yes. Sorry, my bad.
It's like 2, 5, 6, I think.
Yeah. No, I think it'll be interesting. Good weekend, big pints, and yeah, if you're around Warhammer Worlds, it'll be good. If anyone has any questions, now would be the time to pop them into chat, as we'll probably be wrapping this one up in the next 10 minutes or so. So feel free to fire in questions and all that good stuff. We will be looking at them here. But yeah, overall, I think it's quite funny. Do you know one thing that I really noticed though is that I find it very interesting, at least from my own perspective, how it's like. Really started off 10th edition being like big boy squads everywhere, you know, massive units with all these buffing things going on, and now I've like really kind of cycled back to like, actually, you know what, MSU is fine, and MSU is actually probably pretty good.
Tactical. It suits tactical.
Yeah, it suits
really
tactical, good for Masters of Executions, good just for trading, you know, to be honest, like making little early trades and stuff like that. So I've just found that really interesting, that the mindset, once you've kind of gotten a lot of games in and sort of seen how things evolve and stuff, you're just like, actually, no, you know, this thing that I thought was not entirely wrong, but just not really the vibe for definitely world leaders anyway.
Like where you're focusing, kind of thing. Like what you think the big thing in terms of like tactics is.
Yeah. I think like, you know, custodes and stuff, definitely the big units suits them because of all the fight first stuff. But I think I have custodes. I think I got them in the pocket. I'm looking forward to playing. Yeah, 100% win rate. 2 games.
Still 100%.
But I do think that I have it in my head. I have being the prophet that I am, I'm going to play custodes. In my head, I'm going to say twice this weekend, but probably once. And I really want to make sure that I win that game. I think
I think
I need to.
You're playing Custodes twice, Eldari 3 times, and GSC once.
Depends how
That's my
try
prediction.
hard the event is, I guess.
Well, we can't see because no one's going to
um,
submit their list until 9 o'clock on
okay,
Saturday.
so from Gabriel Pardo, we have here. Imagine if Dara plays just against Votan. I'd probably be
Quite,
pretty okay with that.
they're bad, aren't they?
Yeah, I'd probably win the event. And I'd laugh at those stupid people who collected Votan for being wrong, for picking the wrong army to collect. What is your favorite strat, and what is your most used strat from Rin?
I'm going to predict yours.
Cool.
For both of them.
Cool.
I think it's the +1 to wound strat.
Yeah, it's not my most used one though. My most used one is Rapid Ingress.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I really like Rapid Ingress. I think that's probably my favorite one. My most used one is probably the Auto Advance 6 one. Apoplectic Frenzy. That's what I've called it.
That's your most used one, really? Oh well, sure.
Probably.
2 games, right? Yeah.
Yeah, 2 games. I've used it on Angron like several times in games.
Fair. Oh, from Jamie, what are the potential outcomes for the Warband lore result? So, this is a good one. This is a very good one.
This is a good one.
So, basically, where we left off in Warhammer Fest, Macrolore, the leader of my warband, had been killed by Angron after hunting him down.
By Angron.
I would say it was a good fight. I killed Angron once. So, currently my warband is now fleeing the sector, and the Ashen Scourge, Jack's warband, is hunting them down. So, this next battle is going to represent my guys trying to escape, be kind of taken off the planet. So reinforcements from my flagship are coming down to try and help them.
In a Dreadclaw,
because I need to take my Dreadclaw back from Jack. And yeah, basically Jack's trying to kind of like close in. The Ashen Scourge wants to put me down, basically.
The Ashen Scourge, like I need to find a unit to use for Varric.
Yes.
Because he's a Terminator Lord, basically, at the moment. Great. Him and his like bodyguard elite are just going to do a spearhead assault. So I'm basically bringing all the Terminators I own and something approximating a Terminator Lord.
However, the interesting thing about this game is that we're both bringing 1,500 points, and there is an Angron in the game who will be controlled by both of us.
Whoever's turn it is.
Whoever's turn it is will control Angron, which is going to be very, very funny. So, yeah, nice little narrative game on the nice tables in Warhammer World to kick things off on the Friday. Which, to be honest, like, I'm loving... sorry, guys, if you're here for the competitive, we're going to nerd out a little bit, just for a moment, if that's cool. I'm really loving, like, how... Like, I feel like we kind of kicked it off being like, oh... little chat here and there about narrative and stuff, and recently definitely it's a lot more like, oh yeah, the narrative is so cool and stuff, and like I'm really hyped to bring the Cinderhost back into it. Like I outlined my rough idea for what I'm going to do with them in 10th edition to one of the boys, Rory, this week, and he loved it, and I've got a whole bunch of models planned. I'm going to show you the Pitmaster who's coming down from the ship. I'm working on him at the minute. This is the boy. Let's see if we can focus. Nice little conversion I did on Twitch last week. So that's the Pitmaster. He is trying to rescue my boys. He's a new character entering the warband, so I'm really excited about that. Obviously, my warband leader, Macrolore, is dead. So it's going to be all about 10th edition is like bringing the band back together and trying to work out what to do. Hopefully, provided that Jack doesn't kill all of my cool characters in this one. So we'll have to see. But I don't know, man. Like, how are you feeling about it? I'm really stoked on it.
I'm more worried about how many Terminators I own. I'm not sure how many I actually own. I think I have 30. And
Jesus.
If I can fit 30 in the list, then I'm going to bring 30.
I mean, I can always throw in a few extra Terminators into my box.
I'm pretty sure I've got 30. The loadouts might just be a bit weird.
Yeah.
And my main worry is finding a character that I can use for my warband leader.
Yeah.
Who was until recently Abaddon. Like, so he's a big fat Terminator Lord. And now obviously we can't take Terminator Lords.
I have a feeling that they're going to come back though. I'm pretty.
They might do, but
I got like this itch in the back of my head saying that there's going to be something for them.
So I need to find something that I can add.
Mark wants to know who's going to become the new Demon Prince of my warband. Look, I don't want to spoil anything, but we've still got. Well, we'll have a new Firekeeper because the one was killed, but the armor stays on, so that's all that matters. We'll have the Pitmaster.
Fucked him up.
We still have the original Master of Execution, so I don't think I ever named. And Kem Gregor is still tipping around, the guy who was initially part of all the possession stuff. So yeah, there's still a good bit around.
That is a very good point, Mark. I'm definitely just going to do that.
What's he saying?
Use Abaddon as a Demon Prince on foot.
Oh, same
Yeah.
base, right? Or
Potentially, and if not,
it's an
fuck it.
easy push up if it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Thank you,
moving on
Mark.
anyway.
I'm doing that.
So we're still doing Q&A. If you're just hopping in, feel free to ask us any questions about the upcoming Warhammer World tournament that we're attending. But so we have from Warboss, what is your dreaded matchup? Jack, you go first.
What with this list?
Like your absolute worst matchup.
With this list, Eldar probably ain't that fun. Just because, depending on the Eldar build, if there's loads of like anti-tank stuff in it, yeah, going second against Imperial Knights would probably suck too.
Yeah.
I don't know that much about opposition armies, to be honest, at this point, to know what I would hate.
Yep.
You reckon it'd be surprisingly good in Custodes?
I think it would be. Yeah. I don't think they can, like, you have to remember that most Custode stuff in combat is only like strength 7 or 8. And it's only going to be damage 2.
Is like toughness 11.
Yeah, and like, I mean, you have a 10-man Custodian squad run into a Khorne Lord of Skulls, you pop -1 damage on it. Cool. Have fun.
Yeah, enjoy. Yeah.
You got to feel no pain as well. And then he swings back and picks up most of the Custodian squad. So that's pretty cool, you know? So I think Custodes would see this, and even if they have the Caladius, because they get lethal hits against monsters and vehicles, and they are twin linked as well, and they're like D6 plus 2 damage, but it's only 4 shots, right? It's only 4 shots. You can always pop smoke on the Lord of Skulls, right? I think you can.
I'll need to check the keywords on that.
Maybe. Anyway, there's options. Like, it's going to be hard for them to bring them down, and the Lord of Skulls has 3 damage shots.
2 damage.
2 damage.
Jamie wants me to take the 2 damage belly gun as well, because it's 48-inch gun rather than the 24-inch flat 3.
I think you want the flat 3. Personally.
I think I want the flat 3 as well.
Yeah. The thing about the Custodes is it's really hard to predict, because if they have the shields, they go up to 4 wounds, so then the 2 damage is good, but if they don't have the shields, it's 3. So
yeah, I mean the Gatling is 2 damage. So and I'm taking the Gatling whatever happens.
Yeah, and then you have the Abominant as well for 3 damage. So like between the Lord of Skulls and the Abominant, you might take out 2 or 3 Custodes in shooting, which is respectable.
The Thirster is what damage is? Oh yeah, shooting. Yeah.
Yeah,
the Thirster is got pretty good damage in melee. Great attack.
He's going to be like sweep
D6
2,
plus
right?
2. Yeah, D6 plus 2 on the strike, or flat 2 on the sweep. That's a lot of attacks. Oh,
yeah, it's an interesting one. Personally, for me, it's Thousand Suns is the worst matchup. I don't think I can ever beat Thousand Suns. I can beat Eldar. I can beat Custodes. I can beat GSC. Thousand Suns, no way. Magnus runs a fucking train on Angron. They're so good. And if it's a good Thousand Suns player, if it's a bad Thousand Suns player, I can have him, no problem.
You have to assume like equal skill though, right?
If I assume equal skill, I lose to Thousand Suns every day of the week, 100%. Unless I go first and they've misdeployed and it's like the right mission and I can pressure them. If I can pressure them really, really hard. But I don't know. Magnus is phenomenal, like really, really good. And then all their characters inside the units are really, really good too. So I'd want the most to be doing a lot of work, or Karen with the epic challenge. There's just so much that can go wrong in the Thousand Suns. I just feel like against Eldar, even if it's equal skill, things can go wrong for them.
Yeah.
You know? And with Angron coming back, I can take out enough key pieces, I think, against Eldar. I'm more confident now, having played Eldar today, even though I still think they're phenomenal, and I still would think that I lose most games if it's equal skill. But against Thousand Suns, I don't think I win a single game. If I was to play 10 games into both those factions, I reckon I win the Eldar game maybe 7 or 8 times if it's equal skill. I don't win it 7 or 8 times. I lose it 7 or 8 times. But against Thousand Suns, I lose it every time. For sure. I think that's definitely the worst one. For sure. White Rabbit says Eldar is the auto dread list. Yeah, I actually think Thousand Suns is nastier for us. Mark would rather play Eldari than Custodes at World Leaders. Look, skill issue is all I'm saying. Skill issue. I have Custodes down. They are mine.
100% win rate, mate.
The thing is, you just like, it's just so funny when you take tactical and like you just put like Mo and 5 Berserkers in the middle of the board, because that's where the Custodes want to live forever, always. And they're like, I can't move there now. And then it's like they shoot them and they might kill 1 or 2 Berserkers, and I'm like, cool, I Blood Surge into you. And I have fight first.
And fight first,
yeah. And then I'm like, the Berserker Glaive guy just picks out Trajan and takes his head off. And then they're like, cool, now we can't fight first for free.
Yeah.
It's just you could do so much funny stuff like that. Like yesterday, we had a moment where I just had an objective with a ring of berserkers around it, like just preventing the custodians from moving into the objective, and all of those berserkers had a mow somewhere within their squad, and I was just like, "What are you gonna do?" You know, because if you shoot these guys, they blood surge into you, and if you charge them, I fight first. And if you charge them, I also have this other guy who can heroically intervene, and he fights first too.
Yeah.
So I just like, this is a nightmare for you. So I really like setting up those situations and explaining everything to the Custodes player, and then being like, now think about it, think hard. By the way, Angron's coming back, and then you rapid aggress Angron in, and they're like, no, this is not fair, and it's not fair, but I don't care because it's Custodes. Okay, so what else is going on? Rin says, what is the most fun matchup?
World Eaters. World Eaters Mirror.
That's a tough one. I really enjoyed playing against Black Templars already, and I really enjoyed playing against Death Guard when it's combat Death Guard. So I think anytime that it's like a combat army where you can have that sweet back and forth with your opponent, and you're both on kind of the same. I think if it's combat versus combat, and you're both of equal or close to equal skill level, the game is phenomenally fun because you both know where all the magic is happening. You both know that you've got tricks and stuff like that, and you play this beautiful game of like. It's like you were saying earlier, it's like chess. You know, you have to make the perfect moves. Your trades have to be excellent. And then you just have Angron respawn, and it kind of cancels everything out because it's toxic. But yeah, for me, I would say like any
fun and interactive mechanic.
Yeah. To be honest, I actually really like the Custodes game now because it feels like that sort of decision making thing.
Solved it though.
Yeah, it's a strange one. Like the thing that I've been like is anytime you see a custodian squad not on an objective, so you know they can't do the fight first stratagem, you just pounce on them. You're just like, it doesn't matter what I'm putting into this squad. It could be Angron into 3 custodian guard. It's like, cool, they can't fight first, they need to die in this turn.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I don't know. What about you? You think World Leaders is the most fun match?
I think, yeah, for most of the same reasons as you said, right? Like, playing an equal skill opponent, melee versus melee, have always been the most fun games for me, I think.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, that makes sense. Melee v melee is just it's cool. It's such a fun way of like skill expression.
It's way more interactive, right? And like everything dies, like because it's trading and like that's.
It really feels. I don't know how you feel about this. Do you think it's like when it's melee versus melee and roughly equal skill, as I was saying, it's really like you versus your opponent. And like it's about the moves that you make, so it really comes down to the skill of both.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like weight of dice. Like, cool, I'm just going to shoot half your army, and then like if you make it across the board, then we can have a game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
which I think the least enjoyable games I've played. Although, like at a certain point in those games where it's like, okay, I'm just going to be really uninteracted too. Like trying to eke points out like that is a different problem to solve, which can get interesting, but it's not like. It's not an interactive experience then.
And
like, you're not playing with your opponent. You're just like, cool, I'm going to try and solve this problem over here on my side of the board. You can like have fun doing whatever you're doing that is fun for you. But like, it's not the whole point of a 40k game is like you're having fun together, right? And that just isn't that. Yeah. Like you can eke enjoyment out of it, but it isn't as fun as like a melee versus melee. So
absolutely. Okay, cool. So we have the White Rabbit says, I'm not running Angron, am I nuts? Not necessarily, I don't think.
No, I've only started every list with Angron because he's my best painted model, and he's not bad now, so I can.
I'm gonna say this: I don't think you have to run Angron. For sure.
I don't think you do at all.
But
as I say, the only reason I'm running him is because he's well painted. My one is well painted. So
this is a question that I'm going to pitch to you in the chat. Is our army pointed around the assumption that you bring Angron? Consider that.
I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily. I don't think so.
No, because I think it is. I think it's pointed around the assumption that you bring Angron and that he comes back once. Because I've played a bunch of games now with Angron. And every time he resurrects, I feel like I'm playing with 2,000 points.
But would you say that's reflective in the army's points cost or his points cost?
No, that's definitely more the army's points cost. Because like you have units like the Exalted 8-Bound costing like almost 400 points. You have units like Berserkers costing what they do for the delivery that they have. I just don't think it makes sense unless you factor in that Angron is there twice. Really.
Mm.
And like just in terms of like the trade pieces and stuff, I always feel like I have just enough to get through the game when Angron comes back to life.
Mm.
Otherwise, no. No. I don't think so. And I really feel like they pointed a lot of World Eater stuff on the assumption that Angron's in your list and that he resurrects once, which
Yeah.
feels bad. Not
Yeah, that
and
does feel
again,
bad.
like I'm saying, I don't think if you don't bring Angron, I don't think you're bringing a bad list. Definitely
No,
not.
I think there are good lists out there that don't have Angron.
I completely agree. Completely agree. And I really only kind of turned to him for the last 9 or so games anyway. Um, and before that, I wasn't bringing him, and it was fine. Things felt expensive, but I just really feel like that they have pointed the army based around that, and it's a bad way of doing it. But at the same time, then I think if you drop the points, the resurrection mechanic becomes so significant because you probably have Angron coming back and then an extra
And
unit
you
to
still
trade,
you still have a decent amount of stuff left when
which
it
I
does
think
come back.
is I
Yeah.
think that actually pushes us into a wild land of because I know controversially I guess some people think the world leaders rules are pretty bad, but I think the only thing saving us from being a really really good army is points.
Yeah. But
So
yeah, I mean,
yeah,
but that's quite a big thing though, right?
I mean it is definitely a big thing, but it's like I feel like we're maybe like I don't know 10% overcosted in general.
What's that? Put Berserkers down to 20 points or what like 20 points a model.
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
95 points for 5 of them.
Mm.
100, 105, yeah.
But then, like it's not across the board because things like the Exalted 8 bound are like more than 10% overcosted,
Yeah.
and the regular 8 bound. I don't know if Berserkers are really overcosted. I maybe very very little.
I think we're looking at Berserkers costing versus like what they have been in the past,
Yeah,
and like they're just not as good in terms of raw output as they used to be in like I would say that the decline has been fairly like definite since ninth in terms of raw output. Like the reliability of the outputs improved into the CSM book
yeah,
because we lost fight twice, which is a whole discussion in and of itself. But like if we're looking just at reliability of output, having it in one activation and the damage was about the same. We lost champion weapons and stuff as well, but like
yeah.
damage was about the same, and that was like what 110 for 5 berserkers into the White Dwarf era, and then yeah, it in that context where we're chucking out way more attacks with way more AP, it just does feel like a straight nerf.
Oh yeah, I don't disagree. I don't disagree there. Yeah, for sure, for sure. Angron is fairly costed, as are the rest of the world leader units. Someone chose violence today. Yeah, it seems to be a mixed reaction in chat. Some people think that the army is costed around Angron being there. Other people say no. White Rabbit says doesn't think so. Don't like the idea of spending all the points and focusing my entire tactic around a Primarch. I don't like it either, but as kind of the reality of the situation.
Yeah, I think that's too big brain for me in terms of like the amount of planning that would have had to go into that kind of costing.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe I don't know.
If it feels very very like
Mark agrees with me, which is the main thing.
Conspiracy, yeah, tinfoil hat kind of land.
Rin says jackals are fairly costed and spawn as well. Yeah, Preds are. I think Preds are fairly costed.
Yeah, I would say Preds are probably fairly costed. It's weird that we're saying other stuff is overcosted and bringing it, and Preds are fairly costed and not bringing them.
I think it's
synergies, right?
It's an interesting one. I don't
really
don't
synergize that well with our army rules.
Exactly, yeah. It's like the incidental firepower. You're bringing a unit for incidental firepower, which to me is a little bit weird. I do think the Predator with the autocannon is more takeable now with the flat 3 damage, and shooting into infantry gets the extra
rapid
AP.
Fire now.
Yeah, that's what I mean. With the rapid fire, it's quite good. Yeah. I mean, look, if I wasn't bringing Angron, I'd probably have 2 of them in the list straight away, for sure, with points to spare.
Because they're like 130 each now, right?
120, I think, or 125.
Oh, the autocannon one's cheaper because the last cannon ones are 130, I think.
Oh, then I feel like it's probably that. Maybe I'm thinking of fire prisms, but we don't have those, so we can't use them. So, did I miss any other questions up beyond everyone went a little bit crazy for me calling out the world leaders points cost? Diddle-a-doo. I don't think so. Yeah, so it's mostly people talking about that. Would you guys run two Forge Fiends over a Bloodthirster? Ooh, that's a good
It
call.
depends on the rest of the list.
I probably would. I probably do it every day. I think. Is it equivocal cost? How much is a Bloodthirster?
Bloodthirster's 300 now.
Just 300.
And you can get
14's 150, I think. 150 or 140?
yes.
130, Jamie says. Thank God that one of us in the channel has fucking
Forge
knowledge of
Fiends
this
are
game.
130. That's fucking bullshit.
Maybe he's talking about the Predator, actually. That might be that.
Yeah, he's
Might
just
just
on
be
that
slow
much,
chat,
isn't
yeah.
it?
Anyway, it's probably equivocal cost. Yeah, I'd probably take the Ecto Fiends every day. They're very good. Very, very good units, I think. I really like them.
I still don't love the variable number of shots. I know it's like 3d3, so it's not too
And it's
variable.
blast as well, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
But having run War Dogs,
pretty much 3d3 plus 3 when you think about it.
Well, yeah.
I mean, you're always firing into blast targets.
Yeah, sure. I don't know. I just and I guess because it's 3 separate guns, blast is nice. Yeah. One Fiends are 150. So yeah, 2 Fiends is 300. So the exact same cost as a Thirster.
So sell me on the Bloodthirster if you think that the Bloodthirster is like better.
I think it really depends on the list. Like, so I wouldn't take 2 Forge Fiends in that list.
I kind of think 2 Forge Fiends on that list would be good. I know I'm not going to put the idea in your head now. I'm not going to manifest that energy.
I'm also not painting 2 fucking Forge
Fiends before
next weekend. So.
You're going to think about it after this stream, though. I know.
The thing is, I have 2 Forge Fiends, like new on sprue, and then I have a Mauler Fiend as well.
And you could probably paint them up in 2 days.
No, I fucking couldn't. Have
you seen how much?
You seen how much trim's on them?
I have painted one myself. Yeah.
Yes, so I'm not
probably get it done
this week. I'm not doing that this week.
Okay.
Bloodthirster. It has a couple of weapon options that are cool. You can either get a load of attacks that are damage 1 with a blood flail, which is devastating wounds, and the 12-inch just 1 fucking
but it's dev wounds, right? So it's like
strength 16 d6 plus 1 damage.
If you hit that dev wound.
If you hit it, it's got a heavy flamer baked in, basically. Or you can take a shitty.
God, that reminds me. I'd fucking the ray cannon go into poor Barney and his boys today. Got 1-6 and picked up 7 of them in 1 hit. It was just like, Jesus, Barney.
Okay. But I'm mainly because I've got the Great Axe guy built.
Yeah, he's so cool though.
Yeah,
he's what d6 plus 1 or plus 2 damage.
7 attacks, strength 16 minus 4 d6 plus 2. Or 14 attacks, strength 10 minus 2, flat 2.
Oh, he's flat 2 sweep. Okay, that's pretty good. Yeah, he's solid.
Which is nice.
I think in a list where you're running Angron, having him is really, really good because you got that double threat. And they're both kind of doing similar stuff, more or less the same anyway. Also,
if he ends the fight phase in melee range of something, he basically does 4 mortal wounds on average to whatever he's... one of the things he's in melee range of. 8d6 on a 4 plus 1 mortal wound. So.
It's solid, man. It's solid. Nice. I think he's good.
He is good, and 300 points, 12-inch move, toughness 11, 4 up base, 4 up invuln, fly, which
is
best keyword in
meaningless
the game. Yeah, 18 wounds, OC 5.
So I see it. I do see it, but I still think I'd probably pick the Forge Fiends every day because you got very, very good firepower. Even the capacity to battle shock guys, which say you're playing into Custodes. I know it's a small chance, but if you battle shock them, no fight first, which is phenomenal. Or it's just good firepower because they're flat 3 damage, I believe, on the ectoplasma, which is just really good. So I think I'd probably choose them. Also, you have the fact that you've got 2 units that can branch away and do tactical by themselves. They can be in 2 different places at once. They're also 2 targets for things like Oath of Moment. You can't just focus in. And really, honestly, it's for playing tactical, I think, would be why I'd pick the Forge Fiends and the incidental firepower, even though it's really good firepower. In my mind, it's still incidental because it's world leaders. So, I like them.
Ecto's strength 10, right? So it's not proper anti-tank.
It's not proper anti-tank. It's more like anti-heavy infantry, I would say.
I mean, because anti-tank is strength 12 plus, really, isn't it? Like last cannon or above.
Kind of. I don't know. I think that might be a misconception, to be honest. I think once it kind of hits that 10 mark, I'm pretty okay with it going into stuff.
I don't know. I can't shake needing to wound on 3s at least for it to be anti-vehicle. Yeah.
Okay, so moving on, as we don't want this to run too late. So thoughts on Mauler Fiends? People are saying Mauler Fiend correctly costed with tank shock in mind. Hard disagree on that. You can't cost a unit based on the knowledge that you're going to use a stratagem on them, especially in a game where there's so little CP. I ran a Mauler Fiend a whole bunch. I didn't use tank shock with it once because I had way more important things to do with my CP. What do you think? 180 points for a Mauler Fiend.
180.
180.
They're not that expensive.
Yeah, they're
What?
really expensive.
I swear they're not that expensive. I quite like the datasheet rules. I think the datasheet rule that they have is really good. Like, is one of the best ones we have, which is the like +2 to charge against below starting strength stuff.
Below starting strength, yeah. And if they're below half strength, you get +1 to hit.
I quite like that. I think that's really strong.
It doesn't really come up.
It's not.
Unless you've got shooting.
I guess you don't.
Yep. So having run through it.
It's just below starting strength for +1 to hit.
Oh, is it just below starting? Yeah.
You just wound a vehicle on the way in or something.
Warboss saying you can price for strats. I really don't think so.
No,
we had that problem with Obliterators when they were Mark of Slanesh, pricing them around strats. It just doesn't make any sense. Because, like, how do you price something around something that may or may not happen? You're pricing a Mauler Fiend around the fact that it has to get across the board, has to make its charge, and then you have to have the CP. At which point, you're not using that CP for something like +1 to wound, potentially -1 damage, a rapid ingress. There's so many other things. Like, the fact that a Mauler Fiend can tank shock is, like, so irrelevant to what its cost should be. Because you're already having the cost of tank shock baked into it, if that makes sense. Also, having run a Mauler Fiend at an RTT, it doesn't do anything in combat. Like, it just doesn't hit. Like, it's such a low volume of attacks. I use like -2. So a Space Marine player is like, cool, Armor of Contempt, -1. I'm going to make most of my saves. It's just
it's okay. -2 with the fists.
Yeah, and the lashers are also pretty poor. So yeah, having run it, I watched it go into Black Templars and I think it killed 2 Crusaders and they killed it back in combat. I watched it die immediately in a Chaos Space Marine game, and I also watched it go into 8 Plague Marines and stay in combat with them for 2 turns. It killed 3 and then they killed it back, and that was it, and that's all it did. And I was just like, cool, that was almost 200 points, goodbye. I'm never looking at you again. So
you know what the answer to this is, Dara?
Tell me.
You should take a Cerastus Lancer.
I mean, look,
tank shots for
free tank shock. That's a unit that's had tank shock costed into it because tank shock is free. So that's entirely fair.
On a strength 20 lance weapon. So,
am I being overly dramatic? I don't know. What do you think?
I think there was a bit where everyone in the Discord got really high on Mauler Fiends, and like they did look good. Like strength 14, we don't have that much of strength 14.
Exalted 8 bands, strength 15 on the charge.
We don't have that much, and Exalted 8 band, as we've established, are very overcosted as well.
Yeah,
or we think very overcosted. So that is also fairly low volume attacks. So
no, it's still more from 3 Exalted 8 bands.
Yeah, it's more than a Mauler Fiend, but like also how many points are
3 is 180, I think. So it's actually the same. Yeah. And I think I'd rather have 3 Exalted 8 band because of innate deep strike. And
maybe.
That's kind of it, I guess. Really, it's just the innate deep strike, but you got the rapid ingress potential.
Maybe. Everyone got very high on them for a week or so, and like I saw it, but they are smaller than I remember them being actually. Like the bases are smaller than I remember them being. I don't know what size I thought they were, but
they're just an oval base.
Yeah, they're not that big. So that was my main concern, was like that they would struggle to get around basically.
I don't think they really have that problem. I actually just think they're overcosted. I think if you drop them down to like the same as the Forge Fiend around that 150 mark, they'd be quite takeable.
I mean, I haven't played that many games, but I think most of my like serious lists so far have been loads of Berserkers and buffing characters.
Yeah,
and that's basically it. And then maybe a squad of 8 bound or Exalted 8 bound. Basically, very similar to your list actually, but shocker. I don't know. I think anti-tank is something that we don't have very obviously. A lot of our anti-tank is bound up in that +1 to wound strat, I think.
That's true.
Or a
Yep.
lot of our efficient anti-tank is bound up, and so like that means we're doing one vehicle a turn, right? Which against
You can do two at Ron.
yeah, but against stuff, and if yeah, but if one of those vehicles has an inbound save, um,
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, that's an if, right?
mm.
There's not too many vehicles with invulns these days.
all I'm saying is my first game of 10th running Angron, I made a charge turn one into Jamie's Angron and did 0 damage, and then took 14 damage back. So that was fun.
I mean, look, it happens. It happens. Not baiting an armor of contempt from Space Marines for other units to be effective. That's not really how it works, though. It's just like, I don't know. He was like, the options in that game were do armor of contempt with the Mauler Fiend or do it with Angron. And one of those is going to mean you make most of the saves, and the other one doesn't matter because Angron's running a train on them anyway. So you can't just like bait, because sometimes you're just going to have people who have a brain and know like, okay, cool, this is the armor of contempt play here. And really, armor of contempt is going to be used whenever you have probably berserkers or the Mauler Fiend going into stuff. Exalted 8-pound, I guess you could pop it as well because they're only AP2, but
yeah, I think they're only AP2.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. Oh, yes, they are. The glaive is AP3, the heavy glaive, which is actually really good. I got that in all my boys. But yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting one. I think it's just really a cost thing for the Mauler Fiend. But yeah, Kevin's just talking about using a thirster for the extra anti-tank. It is a good point. It is an extra source of anti-tank.
Yep.
For sure. But yeah, I think that's pretty much caught up with the questions anyway, and we've been going for 1 hour 20. So yeah, I think we'll probably start wrapping it up around now. If you've been hanging out, thanks a mil for joining the stream. It's been a solid one, talking about Warhammer World and all that kind of good stuff. And yeah, so we'll be there this weekend. If you happen to be in the area and want to come and say hello to me and Jack, perhaps get a beverage, we will be chilling there on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and having a good time. Hopefully, I'll be dominating the top tables. Jack will be dominating the wooden spoon tables. And
the low to mid table.
Yeah, we'll have a nice empty vacuum in the mid, which is great. Yeah, Jack, anything you want to say before we close this one out?
No, I'm going for a good time, not a long time.
Hell yeah.
Really good fun.
It's going to be great.
Really good fun.
So as always, everyone, if you've enjoyed it, if you're brand new here, all that good stuff, check out all the links in the description. There's loads of ways you can support the channel or join the Discord. And until the next one, you'll probably be hearing from myself and Jack on our hopefully victorious return. But yeah, until then, folks, thanks a mil for joining us. Stay healthy, stay safe, and kill, maim, burn.